Welcome to English Upgrade, your home for meaningful stories told in simple English. Today's story is titled, A Unique Experience, a real-life tale that will touch your heart and leave you thinking deeply about kindness, integrity, and silent strength. Listen carefully, and if the story moves you, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Now, let's begin. A unique experience. It was a cold and windy evening in early winter. The city was slowly falling into silence as the streetlights flickered on, and most people rushed home to escape the chilly air. My friend Arjun and I had finally found time to meet after almost a year. Life had taken us in different directions, and between work, family, and responsibilities, we had drifted apart. But tonight, we were together again, and we just couldn't stop talking. We sat on a park bench near the central square, under a dim street lamp, completely absorbed in our conversation. We laughed about memories from our school days, shared stories about our new jobs, talked about relationships, and dreamed about the future. Hours slipped by without us even noticing. Our fingers were numb from the cold, but we stayed, wrapped in memories and friendship. By the time we looked at the clock, it was already close to 10 p.m. We realized it was late and decided to go home. The buses had already stopped running, and our legs were too tired to walk such a long distance, so we agreed to take an auto rickshaw. Pulling our jackets tighter against the wind, we walked to the main road and began waving at the passing rickshaws. The road wasn't very crowded, but there were a few tuk-tuks driving by. We tried flagging them down, but one after another passed us without stopping. Some drivers turned their heads away, and others simply ignored us. It had started to drizzle by now, and the cold had grown even sharper. We stood by the roadside, our shoulders slowly getting wet, and our patience beginning to wear thin. Just then, a rickshaw slowed down and came to a stop near us. The driver was a thin man, with tired eyes but a kind face, who quietly looked at us. "Where to?" the driver asked softly. We told him our destination without asking the fare. He simply said, "Please, get in." We looked at each other and replied, "Thank you, sir," then stepped into the vehicle, grateful that someone had finally stopped for us. The tuk-tuk rattled and clattered as it started moving. I noticed there was a small hole in the plastic sheet covering the side, letting in cold wind and light drizzle. Arjun and I tucked our hands into our sleeves to stay warm. After a few minutes, I turned to the driver and said, "Sir, could you stop by a tea stall or a small restaurant? We'd love to have a cup of hot tea. It's really cold tonight." The driver nodded silently and steered the tuk-tuk toward a small tea stall, glowing warmly with yellow lights. The air was filled with the scent of boiling milk and spices. We got out and quickly ordered 2 steaming cups of masala tea. The stall was very simple: a tin roof, wooden benches, and a small fire burning in the corner. I looked back and saw the driver still sitting quietly in his seat. I called out, "Why don't you come have a cup of tea with us?" He smiled gently and shook his head. "Thank you, sir, but I'll wait here." I was a bit surprised. "It's cold, sir. Come warm yourself up with a cup of tea." He smiled again. "It's all right. Thank you. I'm fine." Arjun joined in. "Why not, sir? Is it because you don't like this tea shop?" The driver looked away briefly, then replied softly, "No, sir. It's just, I don't feel like having tea right now." I didn't understand. It was cold. He was working. A cup of tea would help him stay warm and awake. I insisted once more. "Just 1 cup, sir." "It won't do any harm." But he still refused. "I'm sorry, sir. Please don't take it the wrong way." Arjun asked again, "Do you avoid eating or drinking outside?" he answered quietly. No, not at all. At that point, I began to feel confused and a little embarrassed. There was nothing rude in his voice, only something quiet and deep that I couldn't explain. I said to Arjun, "Let it be. If he doesn't want tea, we shouldn't push him." We finished our tea, got back into the tuk-tuk, and continued our journey. The rest of the ride was mostly silent. I kept thinking about the driver's strange refusal. There was something about him that felt heavy, like he was carrying a deep pain within. About 15 minutes later, we arrived home. The fare on the meter was reasonable, and we paid him accordingly. He thanked us politely and was about to drive away. But something inside me wouldn't let him go. Maybe it was the quiet tone of his voice, or the look in his eyes. I walked over to the driver's side and gently said, "Pa, if you don't mind me asking, why didn't you join us for a cup of tea? You've been working late in this cold weather. It's okay if you didn't want to. I'm just curious." The driver looked at me for a moment, then lowered his gaze. After a brief silence, he said something that shook me to my core. "My son passed away this afternoon, sir. He met with an accident." His voice cracked slightly, but remained calm. "I don't have enough money for his funeral, so I made a vow that I would not drink even a sip of water until I've earned enough for his last rites." We stood there in stunned silence. He continued, "I don't want to take money from anyone, sir. I just need a few more rides. In another hour or two, I'll have enough. That's why I'm still driving. Please don't misunderstand me." My heart dropped. Arjun looked away, his eyes filled with tears. I fumbled in my wallet and pulled out some extra cash. "Please," I said, "this is for your son. It's not charity, it's our prayer for him." But he folded his hands and shook his head. "Thank you for your kindness, sir, but I want to do this on my own. Let me earn it. That's the only thing I can do for my son now." With that, he gave a small nod and slowly drove away into the night. We stood there for a long time, not frozen by the cold, but by what we had just witnessed. We had offered him a cup of tea as an act of kindness, but he had shown us something far greater: strength, dignity, and a kind of love that words cannot describe. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about that man, his quiet voice, his tired eyes, his unbelievable courage. In a world where many ask for help, even when they don't need it, here was a man in deep pain who refused to beg. A man who was hungry, grieving, and exhausted, yet still chose to keep his promise to his son. In life, we meet many people. Some stay in our memory for what they say, others for what they do. But a few, like that rickshaw driver, stay with us forever because of who they are. Thank you for listening to this emotional story on English Upgrade. If this story touched your heart, please leave a comment below and tell us what you felt. Like and share it with someone who believes in the goodness of humanity. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring, meaningful stories told in simple English. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, and keep learning. See you again soon.